Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Hopefully you guys are all having a fantastic day. Today's upload is going to be about the pattern change that will be occurring and already has started occurring across the country. Very warm temperatures and major storms climbing into the northwest specifically. So if I can, this is definitely something we will need to keep an eye on for. I have already made a couple of videos, or have kept an eye on this pattern change for the past couple of days. I've included it in my long range forecast and my short range forecasts, but I never really made a video specifically dedicated to this. So this is the reason for today's video. If you'd like to support this channel in any sort of way, consider doing so by subscribing, and it's free, so consider doing that. It's a great way to show me that you like my channel, and I know that, and it just supports my channel. So consider doing that. Thank you for doing so. So this is a GFS. You could see that the 540 line is way up to the north, and 540 line, if you don't know, 540 thickness line is typically where we see the rain to snow transition, and we typically see there the 32-degree line. So anything south or wherever direction this 32-degree line is, anything south or to the west is all above freezing. So right now we're seeing most of the country being above freezing, maybe a couple of pockets in the higher elevations and in the northeast seeing below freezing, which is very still mild for this time of the year. We see a major storm push into the west, heavy rain, heavy snow for the British Columbia mountains in British Columbia, the Rocky Mountains. It's all in one chain. It's Rocky Mountains, and we see very heavy snow. Some locations can pick up as much as 100, 250 inches of snow, which is just ridiculous. But people have been asking me, how is that even possible? How can one location even see 150 inches of snow? Well, it definitely is possible, and many locations have seen that before. And some locations during the winter over their whole season get over 1,000 inches of snow, which is just insane. So we go through in time. We see this warm air continuing to push up to the north, and we see this because the rain is all the way up in Canada, southern Canada, which this time of the year doesn't typically happen. And we see a little cooler shot of air, and maybe a little bit of snow on the backside in areas like Chicago, Illinois. Southern Missouri, right there, you could see a little bit of snow. Southeastern Missouri, and yeah, I'm not too sure if I'm buying this snow right here in Mississippi. That's just, I don't know if that's gonna happen that far south. I don't think it's gonna be powerful enough, this cold shot of air, to dip down the 32-degree line all the way down to the south over there. So this storm passes through. This is a major storm. I called it the pre-Christmas storm yesterday, and I'll make a video on it, maybe a couple of days, updating you guys on this. But at this point, it's looking fairly strong and fairly powerful. I mean, 986, 984 in millibars, that is fairly strong. That pushes through. We get a little bit of cool off. You could see 540 right there. This is that pre-Christmas Eve, and now this is Christmas Eve. Maybe a little bit cooler, but still fairly warm for this time of the year. Then we get into around Christmas time. This is Christmas Day. We can see that the 540 line is back up to the north, and we see a big storm potentially forming, a post-Christmas storm. This could, be again another travel hazard maker, and this is again all mainly rain because it's so above average with this pattern change. So this time around, this pattern change is not going to be cold air or Arctic blast, which typically this time of the year we do see. It's rather going to be freezing, not freezing. It's going to be warm, moist, humid air that's not going to be too conducive for snowmaking at all. And then maybe a little bit cooler later in the forecasting period, but not looking good either. So let's go to 2-meter temperature 2-meter temperature anomalies. And actually, I'd like to use this website for the 2-meter temperature anomalies. So this is 500 millibar anomalies. This is basically a little bit further up in the atmosphere, and this is still contributes to anywhere you see the warm orange colors. It's warmer at the surface. Anywhere you see the blue colors, that's cooler at the surface, or typically a big storm. So we go through in time, and we see that the orange colors persist. We see a little bit cooler temperatures and a little bit, with that cold dive of air after the storm. This is marked by the storm. So some potentially cooler air coming in. With that one shot, like I said, when I was saying I'm not going to buy that snow in Mississippi. I just don't think that's gonna happen. That's that little blast that you just saw, and then afterwards you get a really zonal pattern. We already have been seeing a zonal pattern, and we just see warm temperatures, extremely warm in some parts. Uh, Temperatures not really giving in to the cold temperatures. So let's now go to the actual surface temperatures, and let's go to 2 meter temperature anomaly, which still tells you whether it's going to be below or above average at what given time right here. And here's the date, Monday 2018, the 12th, this 12th month, 17th day. And right now, obviously, most of the country is in the red, which is above average. Let me zoom out of this, guys. This it's not capturing the whole United States. I won't be able to show the entire one. Florida, you'll need to be cut off by this, and I can't click out of this thing. So you can see that very warm conditions, not typical for December. I mean, you can see southeastern Canada just ridiculous, almost 30, 40 degrees above average, which would definitely put it out of the freezing mark. Not much cold air at all. Again, that little cold blast of air, maybe some negative numbers, and that's very minimal at the best. And then we start seeing that warm up again, a second wave. And just look at those numbers right there. That's just insanely warm. And then, still not looking for any signs of relief later on at all. So that's a little bit concerning over there. Let's move on to let's move on to now to show you the actual 2 meter temperature shaded, which is the actual temperatures at what given time instead of the anomalies, which shows you whether it's below or above average. So let's go through this and let's click on hour 0 because that's where we are right now. And again, most of the country above freezing, maybe the higher elevations and far northern portions of the country. During the night, yes, it will get down below freezing. It will be a little bit cooler. It will be a little bit chillier. However, it doesn't mean that there will be snow. We need precip with that cold air, and most of the time with these big storms, it will just warm up. You could see a pretty big, large warm up, and right there is where that cold blast of air could, maybe reach down into, I would say, Alabama, but that's already, I don't know if I'm buying that because it's just so stretched out. Look at this. It's 25 in northern Wisconsin, and it could be 29 in Tennessee, which that type of, very not varied gradient, very gradual spread, just usually typically doesn't happen. This usually typically gets fizzled out and turns into 30s or 40s. I've seen this happen many times before. We go through in time maybe a little bit cooler, but that is because the average temperature does drop and throughout the December timeframe. So as even if we're still 10 degrees above average at the beginning of the month for one location, that may mean 40, and then for that same location a month later it may mean 10 degrees above average, may mean 30, since the average temperature drops. But you could see a little, some fairly cold air up to the north, but doesn't really come down here. Maybe a couple of chillier nights, chillier days, especially in the far and northern portions, but not much to talk about at all in terms of cold or snow, to be honest, guys. And I do think that as January and this February approaches, we will be looking at a very, very active time frame. So just take a break, take it easy, and I think it's good actually we're not seeing this in front of the holidays, because that would be just the mess. This is the 6 to 10 day outlook, stretching from the Christmas. This is the Christmas week, and we're seeing again those warm conditions, maybe a little bit cooler, just around normal. I wouldn't even say below normal across the Northeast and maybe parts of the West where those storms keep coming in. Alaska fairly cold. That's like the only state that will be cold. We look at the precipitation probability, very much above average, or they have a confidence in that 70 to 80% confidence, which typically doesn't happen that often, especially during the winter, and a little bit drier by the southeast. Let's go to 8 to 14 day outlook, which is like a little bit past Christmas week into the New Year's year, into the New Year time frame, and maybe a little bit cooler in the west, but the warm still stays in the east, especially the southeast, and it's still that above average conditions of precip, still pretty prevalent across the majority of the country. So that is basically it for today's video, guys. If you want me to make a video on the data, the teleconnections, and what they have to say, consider dropping that, and I could discuss maybe why this pattern is forming and the reasons for this. So if you like that, consider making a comment of that. Otherwise, consider subscribing, consider liking the video, and I love you guys. See you guys in the next episode. See ya. Bye.